Welcome once again to Tarot for Today presents Oberon's Outlook on Emotional Exchanges. And this is my weekly readings for the astrological signs as divided by their elemental correspondence. So we get a reading for air signs, water signs, earth signs, and fire signs. Not necessarily in that order. All right, here we go. So right away, we're going to do the air signs first. So this is for our Gemini, our Libras, and our Aquariuses. That's air signs. Today I'm going to be using the Nefertiti's Tarot deck by Los Scarabo. A beautiful deck that I've used on our live stream several times. They have a very antique look. I'm going to briefly show those to the camera. All right. Maybe we want a larger view, so there you go. That's the Ace of Wands. Here's the Queen of Cups. They have a nice gold gilt kind of thing on them. Very, very nice. So for our air signs, this is what we got going on. The Wheel of Fortune. The Six of Spades. This one's reversed. And then the Ten of Swords. Well, swords are always going to bring strife and possibly negative energies. They're about undertakings forcefully, usually. But from the emotional perspective, they almost always bring some amount of heartaches. And then you have a Wheel of Fortune. Now, this is your upright card. So it connotes chanceful encounters that are mostly good. The cycle, the timing seems good for meeting people or having parties or occasions. And we are moving into the holiday season. But then you have the reverse Six of Swords, which seems to indicate also a situation where you find it hard to escape some of the emotional things you're going through right now. And if you think about that, the holidays, especially the American Christmas holidays, is one that you cannot ignore. It's just there, and it's sort of like be happy or else. You don't fit in, and how I know that feeling. You also have the reversed Ten of Swords to complete your week. And that seems to indicate that although you find there are problems you can't escape, or that you can't escape the emotionality of the times, some amount of good occurs because you don't really let that impact you too negatively, that you try to focus on activities where you can be more yourself. So I don't know what those are necessarily for our audience, but they're mostly going to be about avoiding any deeper aspects to the Christmas holiday. So maybe try to do some running around, go play some basketball or go run a few laps or find somebody in your neighborhood that wants to take walks with you or something like that. And that might be a nice way to round out the weekend too, to have some emotion centered around having a good time with a neighbor or a friend that you don't always, hang out with. So that's what's going on for air signs. So now, moving around the great wheel, we're going to move to the fire signs. The elemental correspondence of fire goes with our Aries, and with our Leos, and our Sagittarians. Let's get that in there. Okay, there we are. What kind of emotional ups and downs will these folks of the fiery elements find in their forecast? Oh dear, I have a cat fighting in the background. It may have resolved. I didn't expect that to happen. So we have the reversed Knave of Swords, which that's more or less like the Page of Swords. And then we have a reversed Two of Cups. They call it the Chalices, or it's cups. And then also one more reverse card. And if you watch the live stream, we always have some giggles about how many reverse cards show up for different readings. But our last card is the Ace of Wands, which of course is also from the fiery elements, wands. So let's start with the first card then, the reversed Knave or Page of Swords. And for our fire signs, this indicates that some of the ups and downs will be maybe a little bit of pressure being felt from some public speaking, like maybe somebody asks you to speak up at the office party or at a church or somewhere and say something about the holidays or something about, the good times. And so that may feel a little challenging, so that may inspire a little bit of awe and not necessarily the fuzziest of emotional feelings if you're not comfortable speaking that way. Other people may feel more enheartened by that. May feel good that they're being asked to speak or present somehow. We also have the reverse Two of Chalices, which seems to indicate that for some of our fire signs, there may be some disharmony in their relationships. It may be their specific relationship if they're married or they have a regular relationship going with somebody. There may be some disharmony there. I don't know if it's connected to the first card. If it is, then it may involve somebody's reluctance to share all those aspects publicly. Like maybe, there's certain role that a husband or wife or a partner has to take during the holidays if a person has a certain kind of position. They're a company manager or leader, and then maybe their spouse or partner is expected to show up at holiday parties. That puts a little bit of stress or possible disharmony in the relationship. But I'm also seeing the reversed Ace of Wands, and once again I've indicated that that's a fiery kind of perception there. So focus, that is. So it's already fiery, but it's reversed, and so it's suggesting there's some delay with a project, and maybe that's where some of this disharmony comes in, because maybe the idea of working together on a project is just a little bit upsetting for somebody. Maybe somebody has other plans, or maybe they don't feel comfortable working on that team, something like that. So there are just some challenges there emotionally. Some of them may hit more to the actual relationship, and some of them may be just about people in your periphery, people in your office, or people you work with, or go to school with, or something like that. Nothing very horrible, I don't think. So we're going to move on now, and we're going to move to the water signs. So this reading is for the water signs out there, and those signs are Cancers, Scorpios like myself, and Pisces. What is going on with our emotional outlook and exchange for the next week? We'll soon find out. So we have the reversed King of Cups. We have, no, I'm sorry, that's upright. Then we have the reversed Five of Wands. So that's upright King of Cups, reversed Five of Wands. And then the upright Nine of Wands. So what is this here? Well, the King of Cups is possibly you, the reader, the person getting this reading, and looking at their emotional life as more or less being on track. There may be some frictions from competitors on the emotional level. So if those of us who are trying to start new relationships or have new situations going, there may be some competition for some of those things. That may apply to anybody. Maybe if people have any kind of relationship, there may be competition for somebody else to move in on that relationship. Anything goes in love and war, they say that, so people try to steal other people's spouses, or so I've seen that happening. Or maybe that just says that there's just a certain level of dissension in some of the protocols of the relationship. So some people in those watery elements, maybe they're just a little bit more combative with their spouses and partners at this time. It's the holidays, add stress. And then I also see the upright Nine of Wands. So I'm thinking that also shows the need to understand that some of these battles are ongoing in a way, so that relationships themselves really have that quality or that structure to them, where sometimes they are not perfect and sometimes you always have to work at them. And so that's what the water signs are going to find out, that this guy here, the King of Cups, he might be really that kind and benevolent personality and emotionally strong and supportive, but there are always situations that arise and one has to deal with, and a lot of times a relationship is just a lot of work. So that's it for the water signs for this week, that acknowledgement. So now we're going to move on to our earth signs. And the earth signs are best known as Taurus, also Virgo and Capricorn. And like any of the other elemental associations, these signs all share certain characteristics or ambitions or things like that. So let's see what happens with the emotional directions going on for our earth sign friends in the next week. And we have the reversed Emperor. We have the upright Four of Wands. And we have the upright Eight of Wands. So this is what's going on for the earth signs. Earth signs in general have more controlling instincts. They're more likely to be business leaders or office managers or in charge of most factors of their life. So that is the basic idea behind the Emperor that's going on, as always. And then there's the, so that was the reverse one though. So what that's indicating, of course, is that some that's being challenged. Earth signs may find that some of their control of their world is being challenged, and some of those challenges specifically are about the Four of Wands and the Eight of Wands. And the Four of Wands is the fact that maybe you're seeing that other people have really great relationships and you're wondering why yours isn't as great. So some of our earth signs may be comparing their happiness in their relationships with that they perceive of others. And maybe some earth signs are saying, I don't have a relationship. And so maybe they're wondering how they're going to get towards that happiness that they're seeing reflected around them in some cases. Or maybe other people who just don't feel that they have great relationships are wondering what they can do to make their relationships better, or do they need to seek other relationships to have a happy marriage or partnership with somebody. And the Eight of Wands, I think, is telling us that for many people this is a big activity. They have to put a lot of time and energy into the creation of sustainable relationships. And so that may be a large part of what these earth signs are going through in this next week, is trying to have a return of the control in those areas of their lives that are about the relationships, and to make their relationships stronger. Like, so they're being influenced basically by standards in society. I guess I just have to say that. And I see that with Capricorn, Virgo, and Tauruses in general, that they want to kind of play by the rule books to most degrees, and so they want to have those things, and when they don't have them, then that becomes their issue. So work on that this next week, and keep your conversations open, your dialogue open. So that's pretty much it for what we have for the emotional exchanges for this upcoming week for all the signs of the zodiac as delineated by their elemental correlations. And so this was Oberon from TFT Tarot for today, and we will have another emotional exchange next Friday. So thank you for watching.